You're about to throw away a perfectly good battery. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out, because what I'm going to show you today could save you anywhere from $50 to $300, depending on what you're dealing with. And the crazy part? The fix costs about $2, maybe less. And it's sitting in your garage or kitchen right now. But battery companies, they are absolutely not going to tell you this, because the moment you learn this trick, you stop being their customer. You stop buying replacements every few months. You stop falling for the just get a new one advice from every store clerk who gets commission on every sale. So stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to bring a dead or dying battery back to life. And it works on car batteries, lawnmower batteries, power tool batteries, and more. Don't touch that dial. Okay, so here's what happens to almost everyone. You go out to start your car on a cold Monday morning, turn the key, and nothing. Or maybe it clicks, or maybe it groans like it's trying its hardest but just can't quite make it. You jump it, it starts, you think you're fine. Then a week later, same thing. So you go to the auto parts store, they test it, and they tell you the battery is dead. And of course, they've got a brand new one sitting right there for $150, sometimes $200. And you buy it, because what choice do you have, right? Same thing happens with lawnmower batteries, golf cart batteries, power tool battery packs. They die. We replace them. It feels like the only option. But here's what nobody tells you at that store counter. Most batteries that seem dead aren't actually dead. They're sulfated. They've got a buildup of lead sulfate crystals on the internal plates, and that buildup is blocking the battery from holding or delivering a charge. It's not gone. It's not broken. It's just dirty on the inside. And that's a completely different problem with a completely different and very cheap solution. Now, I want to take you back about 30 years, because this trick didn't come from some YouTube channel or some viral post. It came from old school mechanics, the kind who worked out of small town shops where nothing got thrown away if it could be fixed first. My grandfather was one of those guys. He ran a small repair shop for decades, and I remember watching him mix up the solution in an old glass jar, pour it into a battery that everyone else had written off, and within a few days, that battery was running strong again. He called it battery reconditioning, and back then, before everything became disposable, it was just common knowledge. Mechanics knew it, farmers knew it. Anyone who couldn't afford to keep replacing equipment knew it. But somewhere along the way, when batteries got cheaper to produce and easier to sell, that knowledge got quietly shelved. It wasn't profitable to keep people's old batteries alive. It was much more profitable to sell them new ones every couple of years. And so the reconditioning trick kind of faded out of mainstream conversation. The old-timers kept doing it. But the rest of us got trained to replace, not repair. Today we're bringing it back. So let's get into it. And I want to be really clear about what you need and exactly what to do, because there are a few steps where people go wrong and mess up an otherwise perfectly good fix. First, the materials. You need distilled water, not tap water, distilled, and you need Epsom salt. That's magnesium sulfate, and you can find it at any pharmacy or grocery store for about $2 a bag. You also need a battery charger, a turkey baster, or a syringe for adding fluid, and safety gear, gloves, and safety glasses. I'm serious about that last part. Battery acid is not something you want splashing around. Total cost, assuming you have a charger already, about $2, maybe $3. Now here's the key part most people miss right at the start. Before you do anything, you need to test whether this fix is even possible. Check the battery voltage with a multimeter. If it reads somewhere between 0 and 12 volts, you're in business. If it reads completely 0 with no response at all, the battery may have a dead cell and this method has a lower chance of working, but it's still worth trying because you've got nothing to lose. Next, carefully remove the cell caps on the top of the battery. Not all batteries have these. Sealed AGM batteries are different, and we'll talk about those in a second. But most standard lead acid batteries, the kind in cars, lawnmowers, and golf carts, have removable caps. Pop them off with a flathead screwdriver. Look inside each cell. If the fluid level is low or the plates are exposed, that's already part of your problem. Now mix your Epsom salt solution. Use about 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt for every cup of distilled water. Warm the water slightly, not boiling, just warm enough to help the salt dissolve fully. Stir it until it's completely clear, no crystals left. Using your turkey baster, carefully add the solution to each cell until the plates are just covered. Don't overfill. You want the plates submerged, but you don't want the solution overflowing when the battery starts gassing during the charge. Now here's where the patience comes in. Put the battery on a slow, low amp charge. If your charger has a 2 amp setting, use that. Not the fast charge, not the boost mode. Slow and steady. Leave it on charge for 24 to 36 hours. I know that sounds like a long time, but this is the step that actually breaks down the sulfate crystals and allows the battery plates to start accepting a charge again. The slow charge is doing the work. After 24 hours, check the voltage again. You're looking for it to climb toward 12.6 volts or higher for a fully charged lead acid battery. If it's climbing, great sign. Let it finish. If after 36 hours it's still stuck below 10 volts, try a second cycle. Discharge it slightly by leaving a small load on it, then slow charge again. Some badly sulfated batteries need 2 or 3 cycles before they really come back. Now about AGM and sealed batteries, you cannot open those and add fluid, but you can still sometimes recover them using a desulfation charge cycle. Many modern smart chargers have a reconditioning mode built right in. Check your charger. If it has a recond or desulfate setting, use it. Same principle, different delivery method. And common mistakes to avoid. Don't use tap water. The minerals in tap water will make the problem worse. Don't use a fast charger or high amp setting. You risk warping the plates. Don't skip the safety gear. And don't do this in an enclosed space. Batteries off-gas hydrogen during charging, and that is genuinely flammable. Now, let me tell you what you can realistically expect. If your battery is sulfated but otherwise structurally intact, you can expect to see it return to somewhere between 70 and 90% of its original capacity after 1 to 3 reconditioning cycles. For a car battery, that means reliable cold weather starts and normal operation. For a lawnmower or power tool battery, it means you're back to finishing the job without the battery dying halfway through. The timeline is usually 48 to 72 hours from start to finish, including multiple charge cycles if needed. I've personally done this with a car battery that the auto parts store tested and called dead. After 2 reconditioning cycles, it tested strong enough that it lasted another full year before I replaced it. That's a $150 bill I didn't pay. I've also seen it work on golf cart batteries that were supposedly toast, on riding mower batteries that had been sitting dead all winter, and on old power tool packs that had been collecting dust. It doesn't work 100% of the time. Nothing does. If a cell is physically shorted or the plates are warped or corroded beyond repair, no amount of Epsom salt will fix it. But in my experience, more often than not, this works. And even when it only extends the battery's life by 6 months, that's 6 months you didn't spend $150 you didn't need to spend. Here's your bonus for sticking around this long, and this one is pure gold for anyone dealing with battery corrosion on the terminals. You know, the white or greenish, crusty buildup that kills your connection. Mix a tablespoon of baking soda with a little water into a paste, apply it directly to the corroded terminals and let it fizz. That fizzing is the baking soda neutralizing the acid corrosion. After it settles, scrub with an old toothbrush, wipe clean, and then put a thin coat of petroleum jelly on the terminals to prevent future corrosion. Seriously, that alone can fix what looks like a dead battery issue because poor terminal connection mimics the symptoms of a failing battery almost perfectly. Check the terminals before you even bother testing the battery. Sometimes that's the whole problem right there. All right, that is your $2 battery fix, and I really hope this saves you some serious money the next time someone tells you to just buy a new one. If you try this, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me whether it worked for you, what battery you used it on, and how it turned out. Those stories are what this community is built on. If you found this useful, hit that subscribe button because every single week we're bringing you these kinds of real-world money-saving fixes that the big stores and manufacturers would rather you never found out about. Next week, we're getting into something that has saved homeowners thousands of dollars on HVAC repairs. A simple diagnostic trick that takes 5 minutes and tells you exactly what's wrong before you call a technician. You're not going to want to miss that one. Until then, don't replace it until you've tried to fix it first. See you next week.